they have a history with another race called the Krogans, where they were kind of involved in genetically engineering a disease that prevents the Krogans from producing. But here, a female that is actually cured of the disease, and Shepard's trying to rescue this female out of there, and that would obviously have an impact on both civilizations. So it's kind of an example of how you're able to make decisions as you always are in a Mass Effect game, but now we can literally take the biggest piece in the whole story, the Mass Effect universe, and let players move them around and smash them together and really decide how all of this stuff ends.
That's what's really attractive to me about the game. You know, that Crow-Solarian enmity that you're involved in is centuries old, and you know, actions you take are going to have effect for centuries to come. And you know, you're doing all that, and you're getting the blast. Are these mercenaries taken out here?
Yeah, these are actually Cerberus troopers, and but it's that. You know, the reason that we want to do just really great improvements to combat, but we like to give players choice and give them relationships and people to actually care about, is that then when you are involved in really heated combat, that you know, you care about what's going on and you care about these characters, and then you care about the choices that you make as well. So we have done a tremendous amount to really evolve the combat, and that's one of the great things about being here at Comic-Con, is we're actually literally running thousands of people through the demo, and it is literally just a build of the game. There's nothing really different that we've done for Comic-Con here to make it better than it currently is. This is just how it is in the middle of development. So we have a lot of work left to do in terms of you know, controls and the moment-to-moment experience, but people are loving it. They're loving the tighter controls. You have the ability to move around a little more.
And there's some weapon customization, which we're going to look at here, and that's something that, you know, swapping out ammo types and what are the sort of modifications you can make to your arsenal?
No, I mean, so that's part of the deepening the RPG aspect. So we're looking at another side of that here, where we're taking the way Mass Effect 1 and 2 worked in terms of your character progression, and we're really building that up through a system that can start left off with Mass Effect 2 or start at the very beginning, and we've got a whole bunch of new powers in there. A lot of the powers are just you know, a lot more fun, more interesting in gameplay and how they affect things both in and out of combat. So we're really deepening that aspect of it, giving players more choice.
What's one of your favorite new powers?
You know, we've done a lot of things, even with existing powers, to make them just kind of tune them up as well. So you know, we've got the Omni Blade, which is kind of a new heavy melee, and every class has the Omni Blade. So we're giving away Omni Blades here at the show. We're actually seeing, you know, of the most there. And,
I've seen some people with these inflated orange, you know, Omni Blades on their arms, just sort of walking around. They got their swag bag, they got their Omni Blade, big smile on their face.
That's right. So the Omni Blade is our new kind of blade weapon, but in Mass Effect style, it's kind of a tactile program. And so it's a really cool way to kind of do a step attack up close, and it kind of works with how Shepard's able to move from cover to cover a lot better and really move around the environment. And then you can kind of combine that into a stealthy approach using the Omni Blade. But you know, all the different characters, all the different classes now have their own heavy melee. So for some classes, the soldier, for example, will have a kind of a stabbing motion with the Omni Blade. I believe Jesse has the Sentinel here, which is kind of a double stabbing attack with the Omni Blade.
Yeah, we just caught a glimpse of that earlier.
And even though everyone has the ability to use it, the heavy melees are different. So that's one of the really cool additions in terms of a new power, is that whatever class you play, your heavy melee, which you kind of build up the power by hanging on to the button and releasing it, right, like you see right there. If you're an adept, for example, it actually doesn't even use the Omni Blade, because the adept is very much about biotics, and so they kind of build up a biotic punch that they can do that just blasts back when they're, you know, at point range. So lots of really new things we're doing with powers, so that there's new powers, lots of choices to make. But then, like you saw with the weapon bench there, we're giving players just a lot more to do in the game, things for you to buy and find and sell. And then you've got the weapon bench, where you can literally put your weapon down, see it in detail, and then you can actually work on all different mods and stuff like that change the look of it, but also change the function as well.
Right on, and that's one of the, just another one of the sort of tools in your arsenal you guys are using to draw people in. I'm curious myself about the armor that Shepard's wearing right now. Appears to sort of have this holographic architecture in addition to the physical pads and stuff that he's wearing. Is that part of the customization, part of the heavy Omni Blade equipment?
In this case, it's one of the Sentinel's powers. You can basically turn on an armor. Again, we've got the concept in the Mass Effect universe is these kind of tactile holograms, which at a higher power level can become armor, or they can become like a blade. So that's what Shepard's wearing there, is this kind of holographic armor you can turn on. And it's one of the mobile powers that we have, and it's similar to how you can turn on different kind of for other classes like the soldier, you turn on incendiary ammo and stuff like that as just a mode on existing weapons. So lots of really ways to play.
Now we're seeing Mordin Solus, character from Mass Effect 2. Looked like maybe Liara was there from Mass Effect. She played a bigger role in the first than the second, but Mass Effect 3, like you were saying, is really all about bringing all that the series has been about together, and then just bringing it together and taking it to the next level. I mean, we're seeing a female Krogan, for probably one of the first times in the whole game. How has it been to just have all that stuff built up and to be able to release it here into the game?
Well, it's really cool because it's almost like a real place now, and for us, and I think maybe even more so for fans and players around the world, they know what the Mass Effect universe is, and you can almost think about it as a real place, and things that you want to expand on, and things that fans want to expand on, and it kind of has its own logic and reason to it, and so it becomes really fun to think about the areas that we want to expand and add on. So that's what much of Mass Effect 3 is all about, and part of what really frees us up to be able to do that is that because this is, in a way, this the end of the series, but at the same time, it's really the beginning of this huge new story that we're telling that comes to a spectacular ending in Mass Effect 3 as well, is the story of the Galactic War. It all starts at the beginning of Mass Effect 3, it all ends at the end, and you're going to decide how it ends. So because we know that we're coming to a termination point, that's what actually frees us to let things in a variety of different ways that become really divergent for players. So you have a lot more choice. You can move, much bigger decisions around, and the impacts are enormous. And
you don't hold as much in reserve. I mean, you could burn plenty of bridges when you're coming to a huge climax like
that. That's
right. So a lot of people have obviously played the first two games in this series, and their characters invested, have their save files on their preferred system. When you guys released Mass Effect 2 for the PS3, you had like a downloadable graphic sort of comic thing that allowed folks who didn't play the first one to get into the second one. Do you have any plans like that for Mass Effect 3?
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the great things about what we learned in Mass Effect 2 is that on the PS3, we have some people who've never played the first game, and they jumped in and were able to really enjoy the series.